That sounds fine. I just gotta make sure nothing touches the table. Or any guns go off. Welcome to the new stew. Well, it's pretty much the old stew. I'm still in the garage that I filmed like the other videos in, but now I've got a microphone for talking into. So this is a bit of a different video, but then again, the only videos that I have made that haven't been different are pretty much like Overwatch shenanigans, so you'll have to bear with me while I'm experimenting with some new types of content. This video I wanted to talk about one of my favourite games from the last couple of years, and I'll probably stop acting like it's a big surprise because it's in the title and thumbnail. It's Enter the Gungeon, a game that I cannot believe that I still have to personally recommend to people because it is just so good, but I will leave the jacking it off for now and I'll come back around to that later. Now, I think it's important to start this review by saying that I don't really like The Binding of Isaac. I never did. And I know the games aren't the same game. The Binding of Isaac's a lot more claustrophobic and you have to aim in Enter the Gungeon, but I don't think it's a scoldingly hot take to say that they're pretty similar. They're both being pixel art roguelikes where upgrades to your health and projectiles takes precedent. Only thing is, The Binding of Isaac preceded Enter the Gungeon by like 5 or 6 years. I'm also not implying that Enter the Gungeon copied Binding of Isaac, just that there was probably some inspiration taken. Without CS Source, we never would have had games like Valorant, but that doesn't mean we have to cancel Riot. Riot has other things to worry about being cancelled about, like them settling for the $10 million lawsuit because of their criminal negligence and underpaying of female employees, or the fact that they suspended their chief operating officer for like touching some guy's balls as a joke. I don't know, I was planning on this being a throwaway bit, but Google like Riot Games controversy for hours of fun. Back to the point, I tried Binding of Isaac a couple years ago, and I never really clicked with it. I mean, it was small and not resource intensive enough that I could bring it on my MacBook and play it in the back of geography class, and I had friends who swore by it being a masterpiece, and I don't doubt that, they still do, but I never really saw it that way. And then, around the same time, actually, I installed Enter the Gungeon on my home computer for the first time and gave it a try to pretty much the same response. It just wasn't for me. The reason I retrospectively now have to assume is that the game is fucking hard. I played it more and more since that day, not, consistently, but on and off. And all this to say, at the time that I wrote this script, I had beaten the game the day before. And when I say beta, I mean it turns out to get the actual ending, I have to go back or like keep playing and do a bunch of other stuff and then beat it again. But I like beat the final boss. But yeah, it's hard. Or maybe I'm just bad. I do have like a permanent residency on the 4th slot in the Valorant leaderboard, right above the actual thrower and below the person who's getting on for the first time in 4 months. So I'm not exactly a god gamer. So I'd given it my original run, didn't like it very much, and for a long while it just kind of sat on the top right hand of my desktop, taking up real estate. But once I'd had a long day of playing Overwatch or whatever I did in 2017, I found myself playing 1 or 2 runs just before bed. Generally, I got too mad at dying to the boss to play more than that or put in any real effort, but it was like a time killer. And to be honest, what kept me coming back wasn't the thrill of making progress and beating the bosses, it was the guns. Holy shit, the guns! You have a gun that shoots bullets, an unfinished gun that shoots like weird molten bullets, a pea shooter that shoots actual peas, a bullet that shoots guns that shoots bullets, regular shotgun, big shotgun, shotgun shell that shoots shotguns that shoot shotgun shells, a boxing glove on a gun, a flare gun, a frog that drinks soda and then burps and the bubbles of the bullets, a bow that shoots love, a crossbow that shoots bombs, the AK-47, JK-47, and the AK-47 that shoots keys, and the vertebrae K-47. I know I'm starting to bore you by telling you about all of them, but there are like over 200 guns in this game. And along with 200 guns is like 271 items, some of which include bomb, ice bomb, weird bomb, weird egg, scouter, jar of bees, shock rounds, explosive rounds, charming rounds, heavy bullets, hungry bullets, bouncy bullets, ghost bullets, frost bullets, homing bullets, and some of these are exactly as busted as they sound. And without fail, every single run of Enter the Gungeon, you're going to get different items and different guns, and it's all going to combine into this like whole new experience every time. And that was the thrill of it for me, was getting this new loadout and seeing how I could be the most busted and steamroll through the first chapter, no matter where I died, because I just knew that I'd be coming back and getting new stuff and having this new experience, and that was the cool part. And of course, with all these like guns and items, some of them happen to synergize well. And not only do they synergize well from a gameplay perspective, they synergize well mechanically. You have an actual mechanic called synergies, where guns and items together will do different things. If you have the AWP and the scope item, and doing a 360 before you shoot will give you a buff, and they're stacked, so you can do like a 270, that was 270. You can do a
720.
no scope, and it's like a viable strategy. If you have the beehive and the cardboard box, it makes an apiary, which gives you guns, ammo, more bees. If you have the bomb and the bomb gun, you shoot more bombs with both of them, the gun and the bomb ability. I'll stop with the list, but what I'm trying to make sure that you absolutely understand is that there is a phenomenal amount of content in this game. And wrapping around to the point that I was making, I didn't actually, play the game to beat the enemies or beat the bosses. It was just to experience this content in all the ways that it could come to me. I wanted to see what wacky new guns and items I could unlock next. I wanted to see what synergies would do what. That's why I had the wiki open the entire time I've been playing. And what cracked combination I could use to wipe out all the enemies, which I don't even need to mention are bullets. Now the gameplay is incredibly simple. It consists of running around and dodging a bullet hell style onslaught, just by running around them, or dodge rolling, which is dodge rolling because it's the name of the developer, that dodge roll interact. But the balance of shooting at enemies while dodging their fire means you really have to multitask, and generally you're either like hitting every shot and getting hit by every shot, or dodging perfectly and not hitting anything at all. And it's hard to find that middle ground. At some points I just end up going screw it and like looking at the midpoint between me and the enemies and just kind of letting my peripherals take care of the rest. Now in a normal run, which is what you'll be doing for 90% of the game, you'll fight your way through 5 levels of the Gungeon, rapidly increasing in difficulty with every level, and facing off against a boss at the end of every level. Beating a boss without taking any damage will grant you an extra heart container. Each boss you kill is guaranteed to give you an item or a gun, and the bosses, like I don't need to mention, get really hard. The first time I beat the level 5 boss, I just happened to have a really cheesy loadout with the crown of guns that you don't need to aim, it just shoots bullets everywhere around you, and stout bullets, so they were really did a shit ton of damage close up, and I just kind of got close to him and focused 100% of my energy on dodging, while the crown of bullets did all the damage, which is just one of the infinite amount of gameplay scenarios that just occurred from the random loot that I got. Now, if what I've already said convinced you to give this game a try, awesome. That should have been enough, but there is so much more. You start every game when you launch it in the Breach, which is kind of the hub world for the game, and you can select your character there, but it also starts out very barren. But through your run throughout the Gungeon, you can sometimes find these trapped Gungeoneers. I don't know if they're actually Gungeoneers or if I'm messing up the lore there, but it's a fun word to say, so I'm going to call them that. And if you find a cell key, you can unlock them, and then they come to the hub world with you. And I've still got Gungeoneers to find, and each of them comes with their own new layer to add to the Gungeon experience. They'll sell you different unlockables like weapons and items for the currency that you get when you defeat bosses. There are some trapped characters that'll open up a new type of room, like the pay a relatively cheap price to be fully healed room, or the here's an item that's guaranteed to synergize with your kit room, or my personal favorite, the hit the incredibly fast and fucking tedious targets, and then the more that you hit, the better item you'll get, but they're so annoying and they just bounce everywhere, and this guy's a dickhead. It's enough that you would have to spend many hours to see half of the content that this game has to offer. I've been playing almost religiously for the past couple months, and I still feel like I'm maybe 40% of the way through seeing everything in this game. Now, this game was published by Devolver, and huge props to Devolver for picking this one up. If you don't know who Devolver Digital are, they have these huge, chaotic, Eric Andre style press conferences, the Devolver Directs, and they're also the ones that picked up Fall Guys when not many other companies would, which shows you that they have an eye for what's going to be big. And this game just feels so Devolver that it's a no-brainer. There's even a gun in the game called the Devolver, and you shoot it at high-level enemies and it devolves them into lower-level ones, which is just so unnecessary, but I can totally see the staff working on Enter the Gungeon coming in and pitching the idea and laughing about it, and that's how the entire game feels. It's so tongue-in-cheek. From the tutorial being a wise old master dripping with sarcasm, to the burly mustachioed store vendor who will kick you out of his shop forcibly if you accidentally let off too many shots in there. It's definitely a love letter to guns, yes, but also to video games as well. There's a trapped gungeoneer sporting a very familiar green cap who will tell you that it's not very heroic of you if you try to shoot him, and will also reward you by giving you an item that, to quote him, some old man gave him. There's a very familiar roll bomb item, which anyone who's been playing video games since the golden days will recognize. You'll even do the goofy... Oh, that's gonna sound so loud on the microphone. You'll even do the goofy spin around and teleport back to safety if you use the escape rope, which took me way back to the golden days of playing Pokemon Diamond on my DS. Now, I didn't mention this because I'm a little ashamed of it, but I pirated the game originally, just because it was a shot in the dark recommendation from a friend, and this is one of the only games I've ever done it for. I then went back and bought the game legally afterwards, because I just so deeply felt that the developers deserved my money on this one. These days I'll play Enter the Gungeon when I'm queuing for a match or just looking for something to do or before I go to bed still. And I'm still having that amazing feeling that there's stuff left for me to find. So yeah, not much point of this video except to tell you to buy the game. It's awesome. Video Game Donkey put it on his top 4 games of this generation. If there's anyone you can trust, it's the guy with the world record in Bowser's Bean Burrito. This is a phrase that you'll probably roll your eyes out because every amateur game reviewer and their dog can drool this one out, but it's a game that feels like it was made with a lot of love. And if nothing else, the synergy system proves that. I mean, weapons and items will naturally synergize, but the fact that it was implemented as a game mechanic with custom sound effects and sprites, there's absolutely no reason for that to be in the game, and it kicks ass. I don't know what type of video this is. It's not exactly a review, and it certainly is disjointed, but take my word for it, you won't regret playing Enter the Gungeon. So yeah, that's the video. Hopefully you'll see this set up more. I got some stuff planned, but I hope you enjoyed, and I hope this is out in a timely fashion. See you guys, I love you.